What does Brother Michael look like running with a bunch of homosexuals? Next thing you know, he gonna be talking with his arm all up in there, pointing the finger palm down. You know, he gonna just pick up the mannerism. You do that when you're around people. You just pick up their mannerism. So you want to be with wise men that are about something. So you want to be peculiar about, and particular about who you're rubbing elbows with. And you want to know that in life you have projections. You have a perspective. You got an aim. You got a destiny. You have objectives. The scripture said, where there is no vision, the people perish. If you don't have no visions in your life, you just go to work every day and come home, go to sleep, go to work every day and come home. You don't have any visions. You're supposed to visualize a man at your side. And you're supposed to be visualizing a woman at your side. But you can't do this if we try to pattern ourselves after the role model this society has laid down. So I came up with a time that we didn't have no good role models. We were taught as little young boys, the baddest cat on the block is a player. You want to be a player. You want to have many women. And then when I got in Israel, I didn't have no strong role models because I didn't have no Israelites except one Israelite, and he had been single all his life. So consequently, he couldn't tell me about marriage because he has never been married. He just had girlfriends. So when Dan and I was with Hannah and I, he had just had girlfriends, never been married. So we didn't have no role models. And all the role models I had is reading Iceberg Slim and all the rest of it. You know, and then we found out about Israel. We, of course, the first thing we did, read about Solomon. His 1,300 wives. So you know what that did to our little psyche. We figured a good Israelite's supposed to have a bunch of wives. We didn't know, we wasn't able to discern this at that time, and we didn't have the proper role models to tell us right from wrong. But the Almighty's intent is for you to get a good wife and marry her and always be satisfied with the wife of your youth. His program is for you to never forsake the wife of your youth. His program is to always be satisfied with the breasts of the wife of your youth. His program is to always ravish her with your love and your affection, day and night. That's Yahweh's program. There was men that had many wives, of course. And we're going to read about it. And we're going to see what Yah's program is concerning them and concerning interracial marriages as well. Because one sister asked me the other day about interracial marriages. And we're going to teach on that as we teach on marriage. Let us begin by opening up our scriptures to the book of Genesis. Let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. The very first chapter. And before I go, how many of y'all got your pencils and papers out? Well, good, because I want you all, we gave you the holy days in the beginning of New Year's, but undoubtedly many of y'all forgot those holy days, so we're going to give them to you again. Because a lot of people want to know so they can take off of work. The first holy day we have coming up is called what? Feast of Trumpets, or New Year's. What they call, the heathens call New Year's. But it's our Feast of Trumpets. And the Feast of Trumpets is the first what? Moon of the 7th month. That's the first moon of the 7th month. And here is when it falls. And the beautiful thing about the way we keep our holy days is according to the ordinances of Yahweh. And every time we say it's beginning of the month, we can take you outside, point and say, look, we all seen this is the new moon. And new moon is synonymous with month. We're able to do that. And our first new moon comes on September the 20th. But the first new moon day is September the 21st, which coincides with a Monday. So the Feast of Trumpets will be September the 21st, starting Monday morning. We should see that new moon that Sunday night. Well, we don't see the new moon that Sunday night and declare that night beginning of the first day. Because the day is about over when we see it. And the nights were not given to us for signs, seasons, days, or years. But the lights were. Then the next holy day is when? The Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement is September the 30th. September the 30th, that morning is the Day of Atonement. But we start our Sabbath the 29th at evening. So the 29th at evening, which is on Tuesday, when it started getting dark, that is beginning of our Sabbath. Yah said, ye should celebrate your Sabbath. From evening this evening, shall ye celebrate your what? Your Sabbaths. And it starts the 29th. But the holy day is that 30th, which will be corresponding to the 10th day. And that shall fall this year on a Wednesday. Now, everyone else, which is the abundance of people, are keeping it incorrectly. And how do we know that? And how can we show them that? Because the day in which they're celebrating these feast days do not correspond with the signs in the sky that Yah gave us to make a determination as when the new moon begins. That's how we know. I hear one fellow in Cincinnati is celebrating. He got a calendar. According to his calendar, it states that every new moon starts on a Sunday. That's literally impossible for that to occur. It has nothing to do with the moon at all. But that's not what Yah told us. Then another one of my beloved brothers, he said that all of these feast days is going to start on a Sunday. Well, we looked and we checked it out. And that's not what it is. And if you think they're right and think we're wrong, then look for a new moon that Tuesday. Now, if we see it, then you know that we're right on as we have been doing. Now that we gave you the holy days, let's get into the scriptures